and welcome. Today you and I are reading Year Zero by Reid. I feel this is a very fun book. It had me giggling and laughing out loud. The writing is clear and full of snark and sarcasm, and that's my thing. So let me give you a little backstory on Reid. So he is a writer and technology entrepreneur and was a founder, CEO, and chairperson of Listen.com, one of the first online music companies to get full licenses from all the major labels. Listen.com eventually became the Rhapsody online music service. So, he has written several other works, such as Year One, a memoir about student life at Harvard, Architects of the Web, which traces the development of the internet, and After On, the story of a social media service which knows everything about every person on our planet and could be anything she wants to be. So the question has to be asked, to what end will she use her enormous capabilities? Who knows? So that brings us to Year Zero, his first fiction work. According to this story, aliens do exist, and they are better than us in almost every form of artistic expression. Better than we could ever hope to dream to be. The one form that we dominate, though, is music. So they discovered Earth, they became hooked on our music, and due to copyright laws, we managed to bankrupt the universe simply by playing Bohemian Rhapsody over the radio. So, let's get into it, shall we? Zero. Aliens suck at music. And it's not for a lack of trying. They've been at it for eons, but have yet to produce even a faintly decent tune. If they had, we'd have detected them ages ago. We've been scanning the skies for signs of intelligent life for generations, after all. And we've actually picked up thousands of alien anthems, slow dances, and ballads. But the music's so awful that it's always mistaken for the death rattle of a distant star. It's seriously that bad. Or more accurately, we're that good. In fact, humanity creates the universe's best music by far. We owe this to a freakish set of lucky breaks. For instance, the combined gravitational pulls of the various bodies in our solar system tug the fluids of our inner ears in just the right way to give us an exquisite sense of rhythm. Certain deeply bewitching tonal patterns are meanwhile wired right into our brainstems because they map to the sounds that our distant ancestors' ancient prey once made. These two, and several other long-shot rarities, combine to give us musical superpowers that no other civilization can match. The irony is that in every other artistic form that matters to the rest of the cosmos, we're the dullards. In sculpture, fashion, and synchronized swimming, we rank in the bottom percentile, universe-wide. Decoupage and pyrotechnics aren't even considered to be high expressive forms here, grotesquely stunting our development in those fields. And while we did manage to get off to a decent start in stained glass, we lost all interest in it just a century before LEDs and nanopigments would have taken it to radical new levels. Meanwhile, the plays, dramatic series, and films that we make are in the so bad it's good category, with our crowning achievements providing ironic late-night amusement to smirking hipsters on countless planets. All of this is according to the standards of the Refined League, an obnoxiously brilliant and peaceful confederation of alien societies that spans the universe. To join it, primitives like us first have to attain a certain middling mastery of science. Pull that off, and we'll be promoted to the refined ranks. We'll then be handed all of the technological secrets that we haven't yet cracked for ourselves, as a sort of cosmic graduation gift. And that will free us up to spend the rest of eternity creating and consuming great art, just like every other refined species. The bad news is that most societies destroy themselves with nuclear, biological, or nanoweapons long before achieving refined status. And when this happens, refined observers do nothing to stop the annihilation. This may sound heartless, but it's actually a prudent form of self-defense. Since any society that's violent and stupid enough to self-destruct on H-bombs might easily destroy the entire universe if it survives long enough to invent something with real firepower. Humanity first drew attention to itself back when the Pioneer 10 probe crossed a certain threshold out beyond the orbit of Jupiter. When a planet lobs something that far into space, it tends to mean that intelligence has arisen on it. And so the Refined League's equivalent of an admissions office, which was already dimly aware of the Earth's existence. Our planet was previously visited by some kids on a joyride during a time geologists call the Cryogenian period. The kids were looking for fun, but the only cool thing about the Cryogenian was that its name could be rearranged to spell things like organic yen, coy granny, and canine orgy. The Earth itself was nowhere near that fun back then, being barren, rocky, and home only to some microbes. So the kids took off, but they dutifully logged our planet's coordinates with the appropriate authorities, who in turn set up the tripwire that Pioneer 10 hit eons later. Decided to check in to see if we had any artistic potential, as well as to see if we planned to keep throwing crap into space, because at some point we might hit something. A scouting craft soon entered our solar system. It detected several broadcast signals and routed the strongest one, WABC-TV in New York, to a distant team of anthropologists, who then found themselves watching a first-run episode of the hit sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter, the one in which Arnold Horshack joins a zany youth cult. Before I get into what happened next, I should mention that music is the most cherished of the 40 so-called noble arts that refined beings revere and dedicate their lives to. It is indeed viewed as being many times nobler than the other 39 arts combined. And remember, their music sucks. The first alien Kotter watchers initially doubted that we had music at all, because everything about the show screamed that we were cultural and aesthetic dunderheads. Primitive sight gags made them groan, sloppy editing made them chuckle, wardrobe choices practically made them retch. And then, it happened. The show ended, the credits rolled, and the theme music began. And suddenly the brainless brutes that they had been pitying were beaming out the greatest creative achievement that the wider universe had ever witnessed. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. On Earth, these lyrics were a humble cue to hit the bathroom before What's Happening came on. But everywhere else, they were the core of an opus so sublime that the Refined League reset its calendars to start counting time from the moment it was first detected. And so, on October 13th, 1977, 8:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, became the dawning moment of Year Zero to the rest of the universe. Countless refined beings perished before the new era was even a minute old. The delight triggered by the Kotter song released so much endorphin-like goo in their brains that they hemorrhaged, bringing on immediate ecstatic death. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Others died from neglecting sleep, meals, or bathroom breaks, as they obsessively replayed the Kotter theme over the ensuing weeks. The period following the Kotter moment, as it's known, passed in a haze. Everyone was so stunned that it was months before they thought to scan our TV spectrum more deeply. Once they did, more waves of rhapsodic joy swept the cosmos. Good Times, Happy Days, Sanford and Son, each new theme song added to the ecstasy and to the casualties. Soon they discovered the top 40 station of the AM spectrum. They listened to Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks, and the immortal Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey. More rhapsodic joy, more hemorrhaging brains. But with every deadly new discovery, the survivors got a bit hardier. Kotter was like an inoculation that toughened everyone up for Olivia Newton-John, who in turn prepared the cosmos for Billy Joel. So, as the music got marginally less awful, the mortality rate paradoxically dropped. And by the time they started exploring the FM frequencies, most refined beings were ready for what they found. By then, it was mid-1978. The FM dial was jammed with what we now call classic rock, and some stations occasionally played entire albums from start to finish. The last big die-off occurred when WPLG broadcast both sides of Led Zeppelin 4. And anyone who survived that had what it took to safely listen to even the most stellar rock and roll. Decades later, the exaltation inspired by our works had barely diminished, but the universe had ignored its inboxes, errands, and to-do lists for decades. And so, everyone reluctantly started returning to business. Politicians started governing again. Accountants started accounting again. Most significantly, alien anthropologists began studying other aspects of human society. And that's when it hit them. They owed us an ungodly amount of money. So, decades of copyright violations by countless beings on innumerable planets. That would add up, I think, just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. So, anyways, if you want to read this for yourself, it is unfortunately not available at Bosler, but it is available at Simpson and Frederickson. So if you would like to read it, you can place a hold on it so you can get brought here to Bosler. And if you need some help with that, you can always ask one of our staff. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will drop in next time.